this video.
It was all set up.
Oh, yeah. He was in the same thing to go down. He has a blizzard. He's still in basketball. But I last week, they came up to him down the street.
No way.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
He's so mad. So, like, he was saying, he said, I was about to take my keys out and shoot. I was like, broad daylight, too. Or like light in the morning. I was like, yeah.
There.
I was like, you know.
Local counterpoints.
Absolutely. Same.
Huh? No, that
3-0.
Yeah.
David, please stand for pledge.
I got roasted right away.
We all did.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please remain standing in honor of those serving in the military. Great, thank you. Thank you everyone for coming tonight. Make a motion to approve previous board minutes, October 8th and October 21st, 2024. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Suffolk County Police. So, no one's here yet? Okay, when they come, we'll let them speak. Report to the trustees and the mayor. Trustee Foster, would you like to start, please?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, trustees, and everybody. So Mike, obviously, we have our DPW here. They've been very busy working with our gardening club, doing some planting, watering, trimming. They get a lot of requests from residents with the new app. If you haven't downloaded the My Brightways app, please do that. You can put in requests. I was walking my dogs 2 days ago, and at the top of the cascade, I almost fell in a hole. I don't know if there was no fence post there or something, but I sent the request over and those guys put it right in. So little things like that make a big difference in our village. They also did a lot and Mary's going to go into a lot of the events of the mayor, but they helped with all of the events this month. We had a lot of events. We had the block party, we had Ragamuffin Parade, we had North Wells Marathon, and our guys are there helping clean up and making sure that when the events are over, that the site is the same as it was before they started. They also, at my request, put some more RCA down by the bulkhead in Gilbert. So, as you all know, the water comes over the top of the bulkhead, washes out. We have fabric there, so we don't get underpinning. Underpinning is when it washes out behind the bulkhead, and then we lose the bulkhead. So, it's important for them. It's a waste of money and time, but it's important so we preserve our bulkhead in Gilbert. And then the last thing, besides stop sign installation, was we're going to leave the water on down at the canal as long as possible. We had a frost today. Mike, what do you think? What's your best guess? You're going to do it when it gets down to
below freezing.
for like a couple hours overnight. Okay, so probably got another week, maybe two, with the water down there. There's still a lot of boats. It's kind of a sad time of year for people and such, seeing all those boats leave, but it's part of the process. So when are we shutting the canal?
Everybody has to be out of the canal by the end of November. So it's just when we get freezing, the water gets turned off.
Okay.
We'll notify the voters that when it's going to happen.
That's all I have. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Great. Trustee Delvecchio?
Is the water going to shut off at Walker?
No.
Thank you for that retrospective in October, but events coming up in November. The biggest thing is this Saturday after Thanksgiving, which is November 30th. Busy day for the mayor. We have the pictures with Santa at the cabin. Be on the lookout for the QR code that'll be on the mailer. And then that evening we'll have the Christmas tree lighting as well. Tag on there.
No, November is a quiet month. October is very busy for the town. You know, we had the block party, the garage sale. You know, we had the witches paddle, and the Halloween parade. Just to segue into the Halloween parade, we changed it to the Sunday before Halloween, and I think that's worked out terrific because we do it a little bit earlier. We make the event 5:30, so they start out when it's light. It's just more people are relaxed. They're not running around trick-or-treating. They're running to the downtown to go on the parade in the dark like they used to. So by changing it, it seems like it's become an event on its own. So Mary's going with the kids. I'll take her advice. If she wants to keep it then, we'll probably keep it that way. Pat at the deli donates all the potato chips that we give away, and the DJ, he donates his time too. The Business Association and the village runs that together. The Bay Shore Fire Department is like a key group because they have the music, and they also provide the protection in the front and the back. So it's a nice event, and we appreciate the fire department's efforts in it. So we'll be working on a lot of things, okay, soon. All right, thank you. Trustee Zep?
Take calls.
Okay, so just going to my report. Again, Halloween night, as far as security, we did have a couple of groups of kids that were running around the lakes doing what they normally do. There was one pack throwing eggs and things at cars. I was part of the people who were chasing them a little bit. There's not much you could really do unless they do something real serious, so you just kind of make them uncomfortable. There was 4 precinct cars down there. We had a couple of highway guys, our code guys, so we just try to push them out. They broke 2 of the lights. We had these lights that we shined on the parks down there, but they got into them and they turned them off and they stole the keys. Minor detail. But overall, it wasn't that bad. On a scale of 1 to 10, it was a 5. So the village, north side of the village was packed with kids. We have a lot of people from other parts coming to our village, but it was a nice event. It's always good. National Grid is south of the tracks, destroying blocks here and there with little openings. They're still working on their mains. Sooner or later, they'll be ripping apart the entire street, so we'll be putting them back together. When we get that scheduled, we'll let them know. But hopefully that's within the next month or so. Around town, people notice there's the green mailboxes that the post people use for storage. They haven't used them in 4 years. I took pictures of about 15 of them because they're all have rust on them, they're peeling paint. We called over to the post office and asked them to do the maintenance on it. And he kind of blew us off a little bit, so we took the pictures. Now we put it officially in writing, and we've requested that they fix them up. They're not using them, but they don't want to take them. About 12 years ago, 14 years ago, a group of about 15 of us scraped them and painted them ourselves. He's told us not to touch them. It's illegal for us to touch them, but we're going to keep in contact and hopefully get them cleaned up because they're spread around town. We had a guy come in and give us a number for a traffic study on some areas north of the tracks, and we're waiting for some other prices. We'll keep residents informed of that. Scout projects. The scout projects are all over the village. When you come in the front door today, you have the flagpole, the bricks, the benches. That was scouts last weekend. They did the Gilbert Park. They did a brand new planter, and they did 2 benches at Walker Beach by the bathrooms. They've done message boards. The scouts really have added a lot of little pieces to the village and appreciate it. We went through all the different events. At the library now for the month of November, the Historical Society has a display. Basically, using the anniversary of the groundbreaking in the village. So if you get a chance, stop at the library and you can take a look at that. We don't have any more information on the pickleball courts, the 5 indoor pickleball courts. It was hot and heavy. Now, for the last couple of months, we've been waiting for a site plan. We have not seen a site plan yet, so people have been asking me about it, and we're waiting for them to move on it. Other than that, that's all I have. Again, I see Jennifer here. I want to thank the Beautification Society for doing all the baskets in town. The Historical Society has been very helpful with their monthly events and doing things at the library. The Art Council has monthly events. So we do have a lot of different new groups in the village. Peter Judge just came in. He's the head of the Lakes Committee. So we do appreciate the residents all being involved in the different things in the village. So that's all I have.
I don't think the
I
trustees,
can't monologue anymore.
I don't think the trustees have had anything to report.
If trustee Zepp has anything, we'll add to it when he gets back. I'd like to keep moving. Anybody else on the board, anything we forgot?
No, just remember to get out there and vote tomorrow if you haven't already done so. Bill Fita is a fireman in the city. He's got called in, I guess, concerns about tomorrow's voting. So be safe out there, but please, everybody, do your patriotic duty. Get out there and vote.
Great, thank you. All right, the next thing on the agenda is the Bay Shore Fire Department. The Bay Shore Fire Department, we have 3 members here to discuss it. Right now, our budget year is June 1st. Your budget year is January 1st, correct? So they're basically going to be hitting us with some increase. I know everybody's bills and stuff have been going up, so we've asked them just to come and to sell it a little bit, okay? So do your best selling it. But if you can, like to come up, please, and just give us a little bit of a... Sure.
You want all 3 of us?
Yeah, whatever. Sure. It works for you guys. Again, first I want to, the Bay Shore Fire Department helps us Memorial Day, Halloween parade, Christmas tree lighting is coming up. So all these loose ends, besides saving people and saving the world, they save us by helping us out, and I do appreciate it. I don't know what we'd do without you guys.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Mayor, and good evening to the board. We are here to answer...
Cole, do you need them to introduce themselves for the record, or is that...
I certainly can. Commissioner Gary Arnold, Commissioner Richie Christie, and Patty Reinford, who's the treasurer of the fire department.
Thank you.
We're here to answer your questions about the 13+% increase to the budget, right? Obviously, it's no small number. Before you ask any questions, I'd just like to say that we can go into a lot of detail about all the building growth down on Main Street. You look at what's going on at Southside Hospital, you look at the replacement of Toro College, Netherby, and structures that were in the past made out of steel and are now made out of wood. The requirement of the equipment to service those new structures in the event of a fire is very expensive. We were not part of the discussions when it came to the new construction, so we're in catch-up mode, and unfortunately that affects the entire district of which you guys are part of.
Gary, I got a question for you right off the bat. We pretty much assumed that's what their cost was. Have you guys reached out to town of Iceland?
Yes.
And what was their response?
No,
honestly, what was their response?
honestly, we got lower.
Okay.
We were actually told, she got mad at us for bringing it up and talking to her about it, saying, why weren't we at the table when this all came about? We have structures now that our existing bucket truck cannot reach.
Right.
If we had a fire tomorrow, we couldn't help anybody on the top floor.
Right.
We brought it to her attention. We said, the equipment that we bought 5 years ago was about $1 million, $1.2 million. Today, it would take anywhere from 24 to 30 months to just have it built, and we're looking at double the price, 100% increase. Even the chief's car has gone up 53%.
Right.
And we used to get stuff on the state bid. They no longer will, like we used to use Eagle Chevrolet.
Right.
They don't want state bids anymore. So we're going out and buying vehicles independently. The trucks, anywhere you go, there's only a handful of builders, and the prices have doubled.
Yeah. So in the infinite wisdom of town of Iceland, and I'm not going to name anybody's names, when they were building these buildings, did they require them to make sure that every hallway had sprinkler systems, that they have emergency egress?
Well, they're using...
There's a multi-story fire.
Yeah, they're using PEX tubing
Okay.
as sprinkler systems, which aren't going to last.
Yeah.
We've gone in there, we've looked at them, we saw the wood construction. It's like wood construction. Once it goes up, we got a problem. We're already having issues and we're having calls down there just on their alarm systems.
So part of the permit prices, because the town of Iceland gives you guys a substantial sum also, right? As far as a fire department, or no?
To get into that, we asked for a 13% on our paid protected area. We have a district paid protected area in Brighton's.
Right.
We were denied. We are now in the process of actually taking that paid protected area and bringing it into the district, so we don't have to go to the town anymore and ask for increases. We're going to hopefully control our own destiny and do what we have to do.
So part of the permit process, when when TriTech is building their big building, none of it, there's no thought at all about what they have to give to the fire department to protect it, because they're saying we have sprinklers, we don't need the fire department?
No, I just don't think we were invited to the table. There are several agencies, there's other fire departments in the town of Islip that are also complaining that there's construction going on, and they weren't invited to the table. We've tried several different avenues with our lawyers to actually go after just the new construction, and the way the town has set it up, we can't touch it. So unfortunately, the last choice is to go to the taxpayer and say, this is what we need to do.
Yeah, because it doesn't come out of their coffers, right?
No.
Yeah, you can see how, for us, this is it's a hard sell to our residents, because why are we subsidizing, Bay Shore?
Yeah.
Okay, so that it's being selfish on our part. Why should we pay? But, we're part of the district.
See, along with the new equipment, I'm guessing you guys got to have new training for different fire tactics for a multi-story building, correct?
We're already doing that. If you saw just the other day, we had the Long Island Railroad. We closed down part of the road. We had an incident command where we had Long Island Railroad. We set up with Suffolk County PD, the state, in all different venues. I think there were like 5 different fire departments, us, the ambulance, and all that stuff, coordinating, setting things up. We're going to be doing more of that.
Right.
As Bay Shore is not Bay Shore anymore.
No.
Bay Shore is becoming a city.
Right.
And we're even looking at trucks because of just the traffic I'm sure you see on Main Street that we can't get around. We have to find trucks that are smaller, actually spending over $100,000 to have the rear ends articulate in the city just to make turns.
Are you guys going to have to build another substation?
We're hoping not to, but what we're doing is we're expanding because with the training that we're doing and all that stuff. We're also looking to buy other property
Yeah.
or expand on the property that we have.
You should go back to that town, I and tell them to grant you something. Because
Well,
they're creating a problem.
I
I understand. I'm just saying.
can go talk to them.
We're looking at it logically, right?
I can understand that.
Now, at our Village Officials Association meetings, Amityville and Lindenhurst are talking about that their fire departments are getting a lot more heat from OSHA, OSHA training and OSHA requirements.
Yes, we are.
Is that going to add more cost to you guys also?
Actually, the management of just paperwork, everything, the state is getting away from helping us. They're
Right.
actually saying to us, we want you to take care of the paperwork, this, and it's getting increasing with computers, this, that, and anything that we have to take care of.
We have put money in the budget this year just to, because now it's a requirement that you have to have inventory control for every asset. It's a state requirement. So we have to bring in a company that's going to inventory control every asset we have.
The thought is on this from lobbyists that we hear is that they're going to make, OSHA's going to make so many requirements to almost push the volunteer departments out of business. Do you guys feel the same way at all?
Not right now, as long as we have a volunteer service, but eventually someday it could be that. I don't think it's going to happen in the near future, but the city wants to get out here. There are some fire departments on Long Island that, because of response time, that have paid guys sitting in the house. Bay Shore doesn't have that. Fortunately, we have good response time. But we have a structured fire now. There's 3 departments coming. There's no longer just one Bay Shore coming to. If it's a house fire, you have ISIP, West ISIP backing us up, coming to our houses. It's a different system that we use under when I got in the early 80s.
Yeah, but even Northwell now, what they're building there, do you guys can't reach the top there, you're saying now, right?
No. With the construction, we can't even get into their parking doors. And the big new thing is electric cars.
Yeah.
That's the next problem that we have. How do you put the fire out? You can't. So they're actually, as we speak, developing different things to use on electric cars now. Scooters and garages now, bicycles. That's a whole new front we got to fight.
That's That's a whole different animal.
Does anybody in the audience have any questions?
I do. About the pilot program, I assume that the pilot program is Southside.
There are more properties.
Right now, there's
$52,000 from Southside is not adequate for what you're going to have to do to
That's not
protect
just-
it. Why are they going up the same amount as everybody else? Why don't you raise them to a more appropriate number, like $152,000?
We have no control over the pilot payments. That's the town.
So the town is giving them that increase, or the
The town
town is
has negotiated that payment from them and a lot of the newer buildings.
Right.
They negotiate them without our input.
So when do we start picketing Angie's office? We get the whole village to go down and think she'll have a fit.
Because right now you have two more wood, you have wayside fence about to be knocked down. That's going to be, I don't know how many units are there.
Right now, we have 5 projects going on and more coming.
Yeah. All mostly wood structures because they're only 3 or 4 stories.
4 stories, yeah.
4 stories is wood, right? Yeah.
The hospital built the building on right up Main Street.
Right.
Put it right where the creek.
Yeah.
We actually can't get to the back of the building. If there's a fire and we had to rescue somebody, there's a creek there, we can't get to it.
Yeah.
Nobody told us. We just went up, in the middle of the night, and here's what you have. And we're
The building that's just off Montauk?
just off Montauk Highway.
Is that an apartment building?
That's maybe an apartment building, I
Yeah,
believe, for the
first.
residents in the hospital.
Okay, gotcha.
Anybody else in the audience? Carl?
I'm just looking at the insurance cost, the estimated insurance. I'm not sure what is going to buy in terms of the increase. But looking at the Breakwaters contract, insurance as a percent of that contract is about 10%. The Bay Shore Protection contract, on the other hand, is less than the amount, 10%. The Breakwaters is of their contract. Why is that?
That amount is the percentage that, you're talking about the volunteer firefighters, the VFPL insurance that's added to the,
Yes, the Bay Shore Protection
Yeah.
contract is estimated insurance.
right. That's VFPL, which we're allowed to add to the contract amount each year, and it's based on square miles of Breakwaters versus square miles of the other protected area.
Okay. That says estimated.
I estimate it because we haven't gotten the bill yet. That comes later in the year. You pay around September 1st. So it comes, I usually have the amount in like August, late July or August. But I estimate based on price what it's going to be.
Generally, we've been lucky with your insurance because whatever you give us has been a little bit lower each year.
Yeah, I know, it's gone down, yes.
Yeah, but not anymore. All right, anybody else in the audience have any questions? Is there any savings that the fire department can give?
I wish.
Is there anything that this board could do to help your efforts to get something from town council or any other congressperson or something?
We've gone down to about every path. We've reached out, sat with, had lunch with different politicians. We've gone to Angie several times. We've asked her to come up to a meeting. She won't come to us. We went to her, sat down with an entourage of lawyers and all that stuff. And basically, it's the reason why we're taking the district and expanding. This way, we're consolidating. It's the only way we're going to have control of what we're doing. Unfortunately, like I said, we asked for an increase because we knew things were coming. We told you, so you wouldn't let us at the table. We could have went to these different contractors and said, hey, you're building this, you got a tax exempt for how many years?
Right.
Give us $500,000. A truck costs $2.5 million.
I would think, their insurance companies, say for the building on First, the one Gargano just finished for the hospital. If their insurance company knows you can't get to the other side of the building, isn't that an issue? I don't know.
Like I said, we've sat with them and both away.
To answer your question, yeah, that would be an issue.
So I wonder if there's leverage there, Larry, to go to the builders and say, hey, you know.
Don't go to the insurance
No, I
company.
would go to the builders first and say, hey, if your insurance companies find out that building can't be served by our fire department, you're in big trouble. They may drop you. They'll need them. So just thought.
All right. Anybody else from the audience have any questions?
I got some. So based on all that, Mike County, just based on all this, it sounds like the only alternative, which is probably a long shot anyway, is to go after the town bicycle. So if they're gonna allow Northwell to build like crazy, and then let Tri-Tech come in here and build 150 units over by the Coral site, then either they got to build these costs into that, so that we don't have to pay for it, or something.
The one problem, sir, is that it's already built.
No,
So we have to react to what's already there and fight it. Like I said, during the construction, we went to them. We sat down with them. We've gone Democrat, Republican. We've gotten a lot of nice handshakes. Here, we'll help you out, and here's what we'll do, and all that stuff. But we haven't seen anybody say, hey, wait a minute, you know, here's what we can do. We're applying for more grants now than we've ever done before. They should never applied for a grant. We're applying for grants, and based on area and all that stuff, we just applied for a grant. It was like from the state. I think it was, I don't know, $40 million. There's 417 departments. If you break it down, it's like $27,000 out of that money. That's what we're up against. And then if you start looking at equipment here, just to outfit one guy, and NFPA turns around and says, your outfit's good only for 10 years. We're looking at $17,000 just to outfit one guy. And now, the other thing is, we have the SEC saying with the radios, they want to try to change frequencies. And if it goes through the state, we have to go to a high band. We're looking at $500,000 to replace radios.
I mean, I'm just looking at it as
You're 100% right.
for Brightwater, they should have probably paid any more than that.
No, but you're 100% right. They should factor in additional costs that the builders should incur, right? Not the residents of Bayshore and Brightwater. It should be built into the construction costs. But it's not.
You know, this would be a great story for Tuesday. Just saying.
Next week, not this week. They're busy.
Can I
All
ask?
right. Anybody else on the board have any questions?
Okay, can I ask a question before you go? If we were to just approve, or if you were to just approve a repeat of last year's with a 3% increase, we don't want to screw you guys, but would that put pressure on the town to do something?
We can't do it.
We don't have
We don't
the
have a
ability to
vote.
do that.
We don't have a chair at this table either.
Right.
We are basically told.
This was just informational, Mr. Daly.
Yeah.
We have no ability to vote or veto this budget.
Oh, so,
Yeah.
so this is being passed down to us?
Yes, and they're very nice of them to come explain to us because they really don't have to do that, but they did that because that's kind of who they are.
All right. Anybody else? All right, great. Thank you. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
Jody?
Jody McNulty, 425 Finances Boulevard. I'm a member of the Bayshore Fire Department for 48 years. The Board of Fire Commissioners that are sitting today are the most proactive in all the time that I've been a member of the Bayshore Fire Department. They give us the tools and what's needed to fight fires and whatever calls that are, and I don't envy their job because they're in a tough spot. I mean, there's no fat left in the fire service, and what we have and what they provide for us to do to protect the community, they're doing a great job. And this stuff between a rock and a hard spot with this money is just it's unfortunate. But I want you to know, the Board of Fire Commissioners are working hard and watching after every dollar.
We appreciate it.
Not coming at all.
What's that?
All right, nothing else? And thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
You don't have to stay.
Anything else you think of, just reach out.
Gary, thank you.
Thank
You
you.
can stay if you want, but if you guys want to leave, that's okay.
I appreciate it. I'm going home.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to bring up Suffolk County Police. How you doing tonight?
Hello.
Long time no see, right?
Yeah,
Halloween.
Halloween. It's a good one.
Anything you want to report? Do you want to give them a lowdown on Halloween night, or?
I mean, Halloween is Halloween in Brightwaters. It's kids wrecking cars and running around in groups and doing what teenagers do. But they were causing the normal ruckus, just trying to push them along and get them back home at a reasonable time. And
It seemed like by 8:45,
yeah,
9
9
o'clock.
everything was quieted down. I mean, it just needs to be lit up and more presence in the area is really all it needs to be. So
Okay.
yeah.
Did you have any report before I interrupted you? I'm sorry.
No.
Okay. Anybody on the board have any questions for the officer?
No. Does any of our Lombardi crew have any questions for the officer?
I've got plenty to say, but not right now.
What do you got, Pop?
No, we assume it's the same stuff. Break-ins, I didn't even look at the report because it's basically the same all the time.
Yeah, honestly, on this one, I didn't have any break-ins, so
Right.
yeah.
All right. Any questions from the audience to the officer?
No.
No, I'll let you go easy too.
Okay.
All
right.
Thank you.
Be safe out there.
Take care.
I'll see you later.
Tom, do you have anything you want to add before I keep going? Or?
No, it was all covered, this reports.
Okay.
You can say it.
Okay. The next thing on the agenda on Concourse West, there's a property that's 225 feet that the owners are looking to divide. I believe the new owners are here. Would you like to just let us know what you're doing?
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Kevin Wells. I'm the managing member of August Line LLC. August Line is my two kids' middle names. So I looked for like 3 years to find a great piece of property in the Brightwaters area. My grandmother lived on Northfield Lane. Both my parents went to Bayshore High School. So it feels good to finally get something that fit the bill. So right now, the plan basically is to subdivide the property, one 125 feet wide, the other 100 wide. No plans at the moment for building on the 100-foot wide property. This is for my personal residence. The thought is maybe down the road, one of my children wants to build a house. We have a place to do it. So as of right now, the plans were reviewed by Bob O'Shea, the building inspector, the planning board, and the village engineer. It seems that everybody's on board with the application. And if anybody has any questions, let me know.
Right now, a legal lot is 100 feet wide in the village. Right now, this property is 225 feet wide. The first piece of property that the gentleman would like to build on is 125, so there will be a 100-foot lot still remaining. It meets all the requirements of the village. So, is there anything, Bob, that you want to add to this, or just?
No, just I did give this to the planning board, and they were satisfied with the application. We also ran it by the village engineer, Dan Velasco, and I asked the applicant to indicate on the plan that there was sewer availability, which there is, and to indicate how you would be able to accommodate a 3-inch rainfall on any of the impervious surfaces that are planned. That was all incorporated.
Just run right through the canal, Bob. It's all good.
No, they did come up with an alternate. So that's all covered, and not that that's has any bearing on subdividing of the property, but it's good to know that all of that can be accommodated.
This act not going to get any variances or anything for the building, right?
The building itself may need some variances, but the subject matter here is simply for the subdivision of the lot, and both lots meet the requirements of the village.
What's the difference of whether or not the variances are just right?
Yeah, people are familiar. It's the old Rising property. There's a White House on it now with a pool, and then there's really like 2 lots next to it. So this is the house that the gentleman is looking to build, I believe. This is the last. So it does kind of fit in with Mark Saglioka's across from the canal. So, again, anybody on the board have anything to ask the gentleman?
Where's the boat?
Where's the boat? All right. But, any of the residents have any questions?
Can we get a louder trumpet then?
I knew something.
All right, so, we vote on this then? Okay, we don't have anything else. So I'd like to make a motion to approve the applicant of August Line LLC, the subdivision of property located at 103 Concourse West, known as Suffolk County Tax Map, lots 501-10-2-50, 501-11-1-50, 501-11-1-51 into 2 zoning compliant lots, building lots. Do I have a second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Okay, great.
Thank you so much. Nice to meet everyone.
Good luck. All right, next thing on the agenda, we promoted Mike Bianchio to a resident. He's a non-resident, but we'll let him speak anyway. He wants to do a presentation for the Save the Great South Bay and Oysters. Come on up.
Thanks for having us. My brother guy was going to talk.
Oh, okay. You're just the muscle?
Yeah, no, I'm just making it. This is Andy Merkel with Save the Great South Bay. They have a community oyster process and program that they've been organizing for years. Battleline Yacht Club, Bayshore Yacht Club, and other locations on the South Shore to, in fact, help repopulate the Great South Bay with shellfish. So I'll let Andy.
Okay.
Thanks, Andy.
Hi, thank you for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. I bring along a demonstration of all the creeks that flow into Great South Bay. They number upwards around 50 different creeks. Please note, not part of the presentation, but part of my personal vendetta is to get these creeks' names put all along Montauk Highway, because I can guarantee just about every person in this room has crossed a number of these creeks, probably thousands of times, and has no idea what the name of the creek is. It's part of our history, part of our legacy, part of our ability to pass the knowledge on to our kids that you live on an island and that this is all part of the environment that we need to take care of and be stewards of. Part of that program, I've been working with Save the Great South Bay for over 5 years now. I am the director of the Great South Bay Oyster Project. It was started with the idea that we could replenish or restart oyster beds around different locations on Great South Bay that no longer exist. Why oysters, you may ask? Oysters are the most efficient ecosystem engineers that we have. They filter water, they produce habitat, they help to protect the shoreline from wave action. There's all sorts of benefits from oysters, aside from the fact that they're good to eat. What we have come up with is a program that DEC, the state DEC agrees with, and that the towns have agreed with, that allow us to raise baby oysters in uncertified waters in certain locations that are approved by DEC. We do this all under the umbrella of Cooperative Extension of Suffolk County. It is their oversight, their permitting that is done with DEC under my direction, or at least for the oyster gardens that I control. The idea is to take baby oysters and in 3 months' time take them from a 1/4 inch to up to 1.5 inches in a mere 3 months' time. Why do we do it? We're doing it because we're not growing single oysters, we're growing oysters that as babies are set on other shells, oyster shells, clam shells, whatever the hatchery is using. So we get a shell that might have 10 baby oysters on it. You just plant it in Great South Bay, those little quarter-inch oysters are all going to get eaten up in no time. If we can take care of them for 3 months, we can raise them from a quarter-inch size up to 1.5 inch size in a mere 3 months' time. It's remarkable to see. And at that size, they're big enough now, they're safe from predators, their survivability has been, because we care for them, almost 100% over the course of 3 months. At the end of the 3 months, they get then planted into one of our sanctuaries. We have 2 official sanctuaries now. We have 2 unofficial ones already operating with the Nature Conservancy in their water. And what we have found over time is by carefully planting these, when you have 3 months of growth and 10 oysters growing on one shell, that is no longer just a shell with little specks on it. Now it's something that's got mass. It's like the size and weight of a softball. So when you go to hand plant it carefully in your sanctuary, it's going to stay there. We experimented for 2 years with just free planting spat-on shell without growing it up to a decent size, and it was a total failure. And that was 2 years of our work and our time and our donated money and our volunteers and everything else that went down the tubes. We've solved that problem now. Because of it, we're able to expand our operations. We started 2 years ago with just 4 crates at Babylon and 4 crates at Bayshore Yacht Club, just to see if we could really grow oysters in uncertified water. It was anecdotally put out there that we could not. We proved that we can. We were very successful. Coincident with our efforts, they had a test effort at Sable Yacht Club with 20 crates. Everything grew well. It didn't grow quite as well as it does on the North Shore in the same period of time, but it grew well enough to get them to a safe size that we could then transplant them in the sanctuaries. By doing it the right way, we can come back 6 months later and monitor these sites to see if they're staying in place, which they are, to see if they're continuing to grow, which they are, and that they are providing habitat for other species. All of this is being monitored. All of this is happening. What's important here, and why are we looking at Walker as a potential area? Because we need to continue to expand. As this group has grown, and we've gotten a bigger and bigger voice and more recognition amongst the various environmental groups that are involved with Great South Bay, the money's coming our way. We have resources that we didn't have 3 years ago, and it's incumbent on us to utilize those resources. And the board has decided that expanding these oyster gardens is one of the most effective ways, not only to provide us with the material we need to successfully add to the oyster beds that we're building, but also it's an amazing way to educate the public. We use volunteers. Everything is done with volunteers. At Umpqua Corinthian Yacht Club, they provided all the volunteers. There were no outside volunteers. At Bayshore Yacht Club and Babylon Yacht Club, we used outside volunteers almost exclusively, and it worked wonderfully well. We had enough volunteers. There's a tremendous interest in doing this. It's great for the kids. It's a big eye-opener. It's great for adults because there are people that have lived here their lives and are not connected with the water. That, is the biggest reason for most of us to live here. So I would say I've looked at the area. It's a good area. It would be suitable. I think you have a good supply of kids that use that beach or that live in that area that will be happy to volunteer with this program. It runs basically from the end of June to early September, and which is coincident with the summer. And I hope that you would give this your support.
What happens once, you're saying you put these oysters into sanctuary areas, then they're never harvested, they're just untouched?
These are restoration oysters. These are not for eating at all. They're not for harvesting at all. They're put in place to grow, continue to grow. They will get bigger and bigger. Oysters can live 20, 30, 40, 50 years. So
primarily used to clean the water?
They're pumping water, all year round, especially in the summertime. At the peak for a mature oyster, we've heard the number 50 gallons a day. But even the little oysters, they're pumping away. That's how they live. Yes.
Couple questions. I know they do that. They have the two big oyster barriers by JFK that they did, right? So they have two big oyster reefs that they are created by JFK.
The Billion Oyster Project is...
So that's Pace at Manhattan. This is it's in the river by JFK. You could look it up. Anyway, so how do you pick a place for your oyster garden is what I wanted to know.
Well, there's a lot of parameters that are involved, but first of all, we tend to go to private places. That's why we've gone to yacht clubs. So security is the biggest concern because we're operating in uncertified water. We're operating with potentially edible product. So DEC, of course, their primary responsibility is for safety of shellfish in New York State. And so they are really concerned about the security of an area. Walker Beach is pretty secure.
Right.
You could use the sailboat area.
Yeah, but so this is where you want to grow them. Do you want to put a garden there as well?
Well, the garden is the term we use for our 3-month project.
So where do they go?
There's nothing permanent there.
So
At the end of 3 months, we harvest them and put them in our sanctuaries.
Okay. So how do you guys choose a sanctuary? That's what I guess.
We have one in Islip. We have one in Amityville. We have 2 that are up and running in one east of Heckscher Park and the other one a little further east of that.
Is that given to you by DEC or is that...
We have to work through DEC to get them approved. With the Nature Conservancy property, we work through the Nature Conservancy, who then works through DEC.
We have that alcove next to Gilbert. That might be a good spot.
What do you do now? How exactly does it work? You just put them in the water? Are they hanging from the...
We grow them out in modified milk crates, basically, that have a hinged top, and they get maintained probably once a week, which is a matter of pulling the crates out, taking the oysters out, cleaning the oysters, cleaning the crates themselves, and then we collect data. We take a sample of 5 oysters out of each crate, and we measure the length, we measure how many are surviving, we make a note if there's, knockoffs or predators or any sign of disease or anything.
How many crates do you want to put in?
We'd like to do 10 crates.
How many clams
we're generally 125 shells per crate. Each shell may have 8 to 10 spat on it. We're generally thinking like 1,500 real oysters per crate, so 15,000 oysters for a 10 crate.
You mentioned to me, since we have the hoses there with the water, that helps to clean it, so it's a good
You
spot.
need water and you need power. We're using small power washers now to not clean the oysters, but to clean the crates. It's important to clean the crates because the water's got to be able to circulate, and you don't want tuna cakes or anything else competing with the oysters for food.
Anybody else on the board have any questions? Any residents have any questions?
Sure. Jennifer Bartlett, 290 Windsor. So first of all, thank you. I think they stayed the great South Bay does some really great work. I've been to a number of your presentations out in Oakdale, and it's really pretty impressive.
Yeah, they're great.
you've really grown it the last few years, so kudos to everybody on your team that does that. I think you touched upon this a little bit, but my first question is, what would the volunteers be doing? And I think you mentioned cleaning the crates and measuring and all of that, so if there's anything, just to
That's what the volunteers do. They gather. Our groups are usually 8 to 10, depending. And of course, if you have more young kids, you can take a lot more, but it also is a lot more work because you got to watch them all. It's eye-opening though. Every time you pick up a crate, you never know what you're going to find inside.
If I can.
Yeah.
So I volunteered. This is how I got involved. I made sure I was really retired. And so I showed up and there were 8 or 10 people that were going retired. And some of them brought their grandchildren or nieces or nephews or whatever. And it was just local people just cleaning some moistures essentially. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And my second question is, I believe last winter we had a gentleman from the Lions Club present, also asking to do something similar. And I think that was maybe from Cornell he was doing, and he was looking to put the crates.
Yeah,
Gilbert
he never
Park.
came back.
Did he
Yeah,
ever come
and
back?
unfortunately, none of us had his information. So
He was from the Lions Club or from Rotary?
I think he's
from the Lions Club.
I think it was the Lions Club.
Okay,
The
because
Lions Club. He
I
wanted
asked
to.
if he worked with you guys, and he said he would get back to us.
He wanted to put like a little dock off and do something. He never really followed up. So
The alternative to what we're doing is using a floating dock called the Flupsy, and it's a floating upwelling system. And what it enables you to do, instead of having a single crate or 10 single crates sitting down, now you're growing your spat-on shell out in trays that could be stacked 5 deep. And they've got a motor that circulates the water. By circulating the water, you're basically pumping more food through the baby oysters, and their growth accelerates amazingly. That's why any of the farmers that are growing their own seed, they use upwellers because it's so much faster and productive. If we could do that with spat-on shell on a larger scale, which is what we're looking to do, we're talking to the Snapper Inn about expanding with a Flupsy somewhere along their property. It's a great way to go. We're going to have to continue to expand this program through Great South Bay. We went across to Fire Island this year in Saltaire. They had a really great group of volunteers. They did all the work pretty much unsupervised. And we want to expand more over there. If we could, we did 40 crates this year plus 20 crates from Sayville. That was 60 crates worth. I'd love to get to at least 100 this year, coming year, and just keep growing it because it produces such an ideal product. It makes the whole job so much easier and avoids us having to go to the Army Corps of Engineers for approval to put structures in. Once you get into the structures, then it's a whole nother ballgame. And we're going that direction, but we're not there yet.
okay, any other questions from the audience?
Cool.
Okay, great. How, if June is when you generally put them in, how far in advance do you have to know if we're going to be part of the program?
I have to let Cornell know. At some point, I would say if we can let them know by February or something like that, we're in pretty good shape. There is a cost involved, and the startup cost for the first year it's $250 a crate. Everything gets supplied by Cornell to us. We do the deployment, but the crates come with a bridle on them and all the gear. They come filled with the oysters and the spat on them already. They come with a bridle and a big carabiner. We put in the screw eyes and make sure everything's at the right height.
All right. I mean, do you guys want to vote on it now? You want to wait till mid-month? What do you want to? Is there any issues? All right. Make a motion to approve the oyster harvesting program. be part of it. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
We're also.
Just like the Army Corps of Engineers, right?
There you go. So fast. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There's 2 years of meetings. No, but thank you. No, we look forward to working with you guys. I'll be in touch with you guys. And,
Okay.
And when it's time to collect volunteers, we're very good at that.
Yeah.
Go through that.
I have Mike's number. Do you want to give Nicole your number also?
Sure.
please?
Sure. That's 631 902 3840. My name is Andrew. Marshall. M-I-R-C. Yep. C-H-E-L.
Thank you.
Okay. Next thing is public hearing to consider a stop sign. This is on Wasippi Drive and Pine Drive. Part of this intersection is in the village of Brightwaters, and part of it is in the town of Islip. We contacted the town of Islip to get their side rolling on this also. This is Wasippi Drive is where the buses go to Gardner Manor School. I make a motion to open the public hearing to consider a stop sign at the intersection. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Is anybody here from that corner? They just sent their petition. All right. Anybody on the board to discuss this? Anything? Nope. All right. Make a motion to approve the stop sign. Do I have to close the public hearing?
Good.
Make a motion to close the public hearing of the stop sign. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Now motion to approve.
Make a motion to approve the stop sign at the intersection of Wasippi and Pine Drive. We have to, with the stipulation that the town of Islip approves the stop sign on their side also.
That's just like that for the record.
Okay? Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Okay. And then we just have to notify the town that we approved our site? Okay. All right, the next thing is, there's been some discussion as far as businesses, like what happened with the storage center on Orinoco. The planning board spent a lot of time with them and discussing the colors, and as soon as they opened, within a couple of years, they sold it, and the colors were changed. So we don't have an architectural review board. We're not looking to do an architectural review board on everything, but we want to try to gain back some strength on the businesses. The village of Port Jefferson has some pretty good restrictions, and Bob looked into this. And do you want to just review what we're looking to do here, Bob?
You make a motion to open the public hearing.
Make a motion to open the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right. Bob, I make a motion that you speak.
Denied.
Nobody seconds it?
I remember a number of years ago, the planning board here was looking at ways to regulate certain things or have a tighter control over the appearance of buildings, and it was overwhelmingly put down amongst the board itself, because there was concern that this was going to be intruding onto the residents, people's ability to do what they want with their own house. So we looked into this a little, and I did come, as you mentioned, the village of Port Jefferson does what we're talking about now, where the residential properties are not under this legislation at all. They're free to do aesthetically what they would like with their properties. But they do a very nice job there in maintaining a certain appearance in the area around the harbor in Port Jefferson. So this type of thing that we're looking to do here has been very effective to that end in Port Jefferson. And
just commercial districts?
Just the business districts, yes. So this, what is being discussed here this evening would apply to the business districts, that being Sunrise Business, and then B1, 2, and 3 down in the Orinoco corridor, as well as the newly established Residence D district, which would be the high-density development, and that's the only areas this would apply to. And I think this would do exactly what you are hoping it will.
If someone wants to just come in and paint the outside of the building, do they still have to come to us?
They do. And anything that, a new building, any construction of a new building, in addition to a building, or alterations to the building that affect the exterior appearance would have to come to this board for an approval to do so.
What are we basing our decision on? We don't like the color, they can't do it? Because it seems like there's a lot of gray area that we can go to.
But there's nothing really, there's nothing defined here to guide you.
I guess the issue is, though, is more, we've gone to people with great lengths to work with them as far as color schemes, which the village would like, particularly the new one that's went on. And then they get sold and they just change it at random after we put a lot of time. Our volunteer board of the planning board spends a lot of time when anybody builds a new building in the village properties. We don't know that. They talk about what the appearance is, the lighting, they do soup to nuts, they work for Bob, and they want to make sure that aesthetically it's, you know, it's not a sore eye in the village. So basically what this legislation does is says, okay, this is what your color is, you want to change it. Okay, why do you want to change it? And it won't be just arbitrary. It'll be like, all right, well, will that color work? Is that going to be a color? Just think about it. You know, if Pat Sutton wanted to paint his building neon pink, we couldn't do anything about it. Do we want a neon pink building on the corners? That's how I look at this. That's
This isn't something that should go through the planning board and to us, is it?
I think we could defer it to them, right?
Well,
I don't think this
we
legislation.
no, we make a decision, but defer to them to get their input.
Well, on the clear, let's be clear, under this legislation, the power of the architectural review process belongs to this board.
Right.
You have to have a resolution. In this legislation, would have to be the ability to refer to the planning board if you so wanted to.
So right now, when somebody comes before us and needs a change of something or whatever, we always defer it to the planning board first to have their input before we make our decisions. That's the same process I would use here.
Right, okay, that's not referring to it, that's just getting their input.
Correct.
Correct, yes, it's definitely not referring.
Bob, I have a question for you. So I own a building with 4 corners that would change the color. We don't have anything in our code right now that says I have to get a permit for that, though, correct?
No, like to paint the building, no.
Yeah, so I want to paint it some horrendous color. I can do that.
Right now.
But with this, you still can't, because I don't need a permit for it, so I don't think this covers that. Because this is saying as if I'm going for a permit. It says no permit shall be issued by the building inspector without such approval. But I can just go ahead and paint it, because I'm not looking for your approval. I just think we need to change the code to say if you're going to change the color of your building, if we're going to go that far, we have to have it specific in our code.
That is a consideration.
okay, Zach? No, that makes sense, because it's in the permit. Anybody else have any questions for Bob before I open it up to the public? Okay, everybody should have this in their packet. They're going to have it in their packet. It's just something that needs to be developed better. Anybody have anything to add or questions?
Rich Hayhead, Lake Avenue North. The town of Islip has a list of approvable paints that you don't have to go and ask for that a commercial building can be built, can be painted. I actually ran into it with my old office, and that's a whole funny story. But they do have a list of maybe 10 or 12 different color combinations. You know, heritage color number 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, that they do allow without going to that. I think that would be very appropriate to have a safe harbor, if you will, that you don't have to go through a whole process. If you want to make a white building a cream color that's on the list, you don't have to go through that, because I don't want to add more bureaucracy than we have to add for something like paint. Again, I don't want neon pink buildings or black buildings or whatever, but give people, I don't know, a half dozen, a dozen appropriate kind of colors, which the board could change from time to time if you wanted.
Do you, your building now, if you wanted to paint the outside blue, could you paint it blue? Your
No.
building is white.
Well, I think there may be a blue that I can. Here's a funny story. I don't want to take up time. Funny story. I painted my old building, which was in Iceland, behind Town Hall, a color, and one day I found 8 people with clipboards standing outside, and they said, you know, you painted your building a color that is not approved on the town list, but we really like it, so we want to know what it is so we can add it. So, but seriously, you really do want to have a safe harbor.
So that's just in the business district, probably. In the
business district.
Yeah. All right, so can we cross-reference that, maybe, Bob?
Yeah.
Look into that, please.
You don't have to use theirs, but
No, just seeing how they're wording this.
Yeah.
All right. Anyone else on this architectural review? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to continue the public hearing.
Good, correct.
Hold it open.
Yeah, we're not going to vote on it.
No, just, don't close it. No motion to continue.
I make a motion to continue the public hearing. Do I have a second? Second. All in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, so we have to look at the no permit, cross-reference to Iceland, and then we have to see how that would work with the planning board.
Yes, Bob and I will
As
do
a
all.
partner doing this going forward.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks, Rich.
All right, the next thing is on the canal. A lot of times residents will see that the concourse east and west are flooded, but the water is not over the bulkhead. So we've been talking about check valves for years and years and years. So we're finally going to buy, I think it's 4 or 5 of them, and try them and see what happens. What they actually do is it stops the water from coming up in the drain. The theory is to stop the water from coming up in the drains so that they don't flood the roads. So in the future, hopefully the only time the road is flooded is if it goes over the bulkhead. So make a motion to purchase check valves from A&C Industry Supplies from Canal Enterprise Fund for $3,185.10. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. At the very end of Bayway, that resident bought the house, started work, knocked it down, it sat there for a year plus. We went in, we contacted them, we made a legal agreement for us to do the demolition. It is now part of the, what is it?
Mr. Mayor, we
What is
contacted.
the IOU?
Yeah, we contacted the owner. We needed to get this done. He agreed to have the village taxes levied. So this is a motion to approve payment. No cost will be levied against the taxes.
We've already approved the hire.
Okay, we already approved the hiring, but at the end of Bayway, it used to be the blue house, and then it was a pile of garbage for a long time, and now it's an empty lot. So, make a motion to approve payment to Panzer Demolition and Abatement Corp. for the site demolition work at 20 Bayway Avenue. Make a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor? All right, on the boat, we've been going back and forth for a couple of months here. This is for the We Do boat for the lakes, to remove the lily pads. We're looking into leasing, we're looking into bonding, and then when we got our audit, it turns out we're in better shape in some areas than we had anticipated. So as of this minute, we do not have to take any lease or bonding. Nicole, do you want to just briefly go over that, please?
Our accountants are in the final stages of drafting our audit from June 1st, May 31st, 2024. And they advised us that we're at 26% of our fund balance, and the village has a fund balance policy where if it goes over 20%, then you assign money towards whatever it is that the board chooses. So right now we're 6% over, so the board decided to use that.
And what is 6% roughly?
200,000.
Okay. So right now, if we don't spend the money that we've collected in taxes for the residents, then we leave?
Yeah, this is not gonna happen every year. We had $190,000 in American Rescue funds that we were using towards the DPW building. It cannot be recognized as revenue as per the state until you use it. So that's why that's coming in as revenue. We've also had higher revenues and expenditures, so, but it's not gonna be every year that we're gonna do that.
Yeah, one of the things that Peter Judge again is here from the Lakes Committee, and they would like to start restoring the shores of some of the lakes. So we're going to have a working meeting to discuss it. Part of that is putting some of the money toward restoring the banks of the lakes. So again, we're not going to spend the whole 200 right away, but this way we don't have to take out a bond or lease or anything for the boat.
We saved about 20 grand by doing it this way.
Yeah. So, anybody on the board have anything to add or subtract to that? Okay, I make a motion to approve a fund balance assignment of, a fund balance assignment as of 5/31/24, assign $105,000 to capital for the 2004 redo boat mechanical weed harvester. Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Any question when we get it?
They're making it now, so.
Okay.
We can have
Yeah,
it.
I just have to send them the PO, and then it should be done soon.
All right. Next thing on the agenda is one of the cars, 2019, needs a transmission. Approval for Bruno Automotive to rebuild transmission for the 2019 Ford Interceptor code vehicle for $5,400. Mike feels that it's in good enough shape for a couple of years, we're hoping to get out of it. So if he felt it was in his best interest to put the money towards this. Do you have any questions from the board on it? Make a motion to approve for Bruno Automotive. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. All right, the next thing on the agenda is some events. For the last couple of years, Emily Ferrilio, they've had an event down at Gilbert Park where they light the lanterns and they go out into the Great South Bay. It's kind of a nice event. Her and her friends go down there, and it's a memorial. Was it a friend who passed away? Who was
Yeah, it was John Walter's son.
Okay.
So,
All right, so they do this memorial every year. Make a motion to approve outdoor public assembly applicant Emily Ferrilio.
we have to put just a caveat on that. As of right now, Suffolk County is in a fire zone, so if that is the case during the day, they're not going to be able to do fire lanterns. Just,
So how do
I
you
mean,
want to word
they
that?
could possibly get LED fake bulb ones, but you know they're not legally going to be allowed to. It's above our board. It's Suffolk County.
How do I
don't know.
Approval subject to permission from Suffolk County.
Yeah. I mean, because it's right now under a fire alert.
Or what, sorry?
Like a fire alert, like rush, driving out rain a month. Yeah.
All right, so make a motion to approve with the caveat is if we're not under the fire watch anymore?
Yeah.
Correct.
Make a motion to approve. Do I have a second? All in favor? Aye. The next thing on Thanksgiving morning, the Racanelli family has been having a run 5K. It's a casual thing. It's a fundraiser for the Michael Racanelli Forever Young Foundation. Anybody on the board have any questions on this?
No, it's a good fundraiser. It's a memory of their son Michael who passed away.
Right. So make a motion to approve outdoor public assembly permit. Applicant Michael Racanelli. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. The other thing is Operation Vest. They've had Polar Plunge. They have not a 5K, it's a 2.2 mile run, walk, and then they jump in the bay. They do this in January. It's a great event. A lot of local participation. Jenny and her husband Stefan are village residents, and they run Operation Vest. So make a motion to approve outdoor public permit for applicant Stefan Haspler for Operation Vest. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. Okay. Nicole, anything special with the abstracts?
They're in everyone's packets.
Okay.
There's nothing really too grateful in it.
Okay. Make a motion to approve treasurer's report and abstracts. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay. Anything else before I open it up to the public? All right. Make a motion to open up to the public. If anybody has anything to say, please say your name and address so Nicole can hear it. Make a motion to open. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Does anybody else have anything to add? Bobby?
Mr. Mayor, Robert F. Holtz, 555 Potter Boulevard, Brightwaters.
I think you lived in North Brightwaters.
I was going to say that, but I didn't want to say it. Anything on Peter Pan, Dana?
They got their money from the insurance. It's supposed to be start to rebuild it soon.
They came and they met with Bob and I, and he's actually talking about reducing the size of it. I don't know if there's anything new on that.
I haven't heard anything.
Because there's something that's interesting. It was made in compartments many, many years ago. And the back part of it sticks out. So he was talking about removing the back part of it because he leases property from the gas station there, the gas station car wash. He pays them $10,000 a month in parking. Because if you go there, you see that how he's parking intrudes onto the gas station. So his thoughts, right now he has 133 seats. So he was talking about knocking off the back of the building and dropping it down to about 80 or 85 seats, then not having to pay them any money at all for parking, and then just park in the back. So that was a month and a half ago we came in, so we'll see. I haven't thought he leased any property from anyone, but next time you're on that road, you see how it abuts right back into that. I thought that was interesting, so you learn something new every day. So it's just, we haven't seen anything, he hasn't come in, hasn't applied for any permits. Maybe he's gonna take the money.
I never know. He did want to get back open. It's been in his family for the two brothers' family, for the father started it, and they want to come back. They're just looking into different ways.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was 133 seats in there. I didn't think it was that big. But, he wants to make it simpler. He wants to, because it's hard to get staff. It's hard to, pay the bills on something that size. So, as soon as we see it, we'll share it with the residents. There's nothing on the corner, the old hardware store. Latest we heard, Mexican, right? 2 weeks ago it was Greek. 3 weeks ago it was a photographer. It's going nowhere. So we'll see we don't have anything new on that. Again, pickleball, there's nothing been new on that. So everybody's in a hurry to stop. So we'll see.
You're rebuilding the transmission on a Ford Interceptor. I'm not sure a Ford Interceptor is an appropriate vehicle for a code enforcement. That's really a highway kind of vehicle, which may be the reason that you have to rebuild the transmission. Okay, when this vehicle is dead, which sounds like a year or two from now, can we get something more appropriate? Believe it or not, an electrical vehicle would probably be a better choice for the village, because you're only doing 5 or 10 or maybe 20 miles an hour, and there is no transmission to rebuild. And the batteries, the Teslas give you unlimited mileage of an 8-year guarantee on the batteries. So that would probably save the village a lot of money in the long run and be a more appropriate vehicle. You don't need a highway vehicle.
It's a heavy-duty vehicle, which I think has served us, well for the amount of time. We could see converting in the future. They did the hybrids, and those were a disaster.
That was the wrong vehicle.
Right. So again,
do a little homework, ASC.
I don't see any reason for changing in the future to electric, but right now we're just going to do this. It's going to get us a couple more years, and right now we have 2. With this car, we have another one working in good working condition. The other one, I think we're still trying to sell. Can we get rid of that one yet?
That's supposed to be auctioned.
Supposed to be auctioned? Okay, so, again, we're looking into different options, Rich. I hear you.
I think the electric's coming, Rich. It's a matter of time.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I think the electric's coming. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, well, I mean, there are uses that it's not appropriate, there are uses that it is appropriate, and code enforcement is clearly one that it would be appropriate.
Don't disagree.
It's like sometimes if you delay a little bit, they work out some of the bugs, you know, and they'll perfect it a little bit better by the time we get around. Okay. Same with the lawnmower guys, right? With the blowers. Anyway, anybody else?
Brent Pevich, 486 Lombardi Boulevard. You had already mentioned that the traffic study, you're looking for other prices, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we had another incident yesterday, and this time I actually had it with code enforcement. I did. It seems like I continue to have the problems. Either I'm outside or I'm playing with my kids outside too much, but I continue to have problems. I had basically code enforcement was giving me a hard time for the green signs that Potter has down the streets, similar to the sign that's in the middle of the pedestrian walkway at the four corners. It got bigger than what it needed to be at the time. I probably said some words that I probably shouldn't have said to him. There's no question about it. But then fast forward, as soon as he drives away, he goes right through the stop sign that I specifically told him the reason that I have it in the street is for the people that are speeding and not stopping at the stop sign. So you're code enforcement right in front of me. And then it became a bigger scene because now I'm going down the road yelling at the guy, you know, for blatantly just doing exactly what we just discussed, why I have the sign in the middle of the road. So you could say that it was out too far, but the reality of it is that it was no further out in the street as if I was parking my car in the street. So it got to be way more than it is. Lombardi's still a problem, Potter's still a problem, Windsor's still a problem. Chris isn't here. I don't see anyone else from Potter. Or Peters rather. But
yeah, the only problem I have, Brett, is sometimes you guys do put them a little too far out in the road, which I see as an issue. You know, I didn't hear the incident until today. I didn't see it, how far it was, but I just, on Potter, they don't put them in the middle of the road. You know, I know you guys like to push it. Because they're going very fast.
I mean, listen, I'm going to park my truck in the middle of the road. I'm going to put it off the back of the car. I mean, that's essentially what I'm doing. It's off the corner of my truck. So is that too far for the flag to be off the corner?
Aren't
of my
you
truck?
kind of defeating the purpose? You're putting your truck in the road and you're putting the flag out so the kid will run up behind your truck and get hit by a car.
Well, I mean, the sign, I would say to some degree, you know, I just learned actually at the last meeting last month that a stop sign isn't actually supposed to make you stop. It's supposed to make you think and make a decision. So I guess the slow sign is supposed to
We can work together to where these things should go on the road, because I do agree. Like, I've gone down the blocks I want to see, and sometimes one day they were out really far, like it was like blocking the road. So like I'm going around it, then there were two kids like on the side of the road, so it's kind of defeated the purpose of it. But I like them there because it makes everyone slow down and you see them. And I wasn't there for that incident. I heard about it from Trustee Pinna last night, I guess it was, around 10 or 9, whatever. He told me, so I wasn't there. We're only hearing your side of the story. He may have rolled through that sign. Maybe he was flustered based on whatever happened that day. Like, I don't think it's a common occurrence. It was, you know what I mean? He left, apparently, so.
I can start taking video of the stop sign, and he rolls through it all the time. I would
I'm
love to do it.
I'm just saying, you're saying that he went through it. I'm just saying the reason maybe why he did it, because you already just said that your reaction might have been a little bit more.
There's no question about it.
Right, so that's all I want to say. He may have gone through for that reason.
And you know what? In the reality, I was upset because he blatantly said that there were multiple people that made calls on Sunday. There is no way that happened. And listen,
you'd be surprised at some of the calls they get.
If that was the case, I would be more than happy to apologize to him. But I would expect the same apology.
That's your opinion. It's fine. Like, but he went there based on complaints that were made.
There were no complaints.
I just want to add one thing. Andy Ryan, 432 Lombardi. This same guy, one time I parked my car in front of the driveway. I'm just going to say he's definitely a little power hungry. Parked my car right in front of the driveway of our driveway and he said, I cannot do that. I'm blocking a driveway, and it was really ridiculous. Same guy that blows through all the stop signs too. And I don't take him seriously. I don't even listen to him. If he says I have a problem, I'm just like, I'm not talking to you, and I walk away. Because after that, I'm protecting my kids going in the driveway, and I was parked in front of my driveway, and he said I can't do that. I'm like, no, you're not doing anything. That was ridiculous. It was just like, I'm like, all right, I don't know. He's
You just gotta let us know if stuff like that happens so we can deal with it.
Yeah,
Because you're just sitting on that information that you're saying tonight.
Yeah,
Doesn't really do any good.
No, you're right. You're right.
The reality is, and going back to, my way of trying to do something on the block while I'm waiting for us to come up with a solution is to do something to make people make a decision by putting the slow sign in the street, like I've seen other blocks do. And the same thing with the pedestrian sign in the middle of the four corners. So I don't know if you actually need a permit for a sign to be there. The cones that are down the block on Lombardi that are around, the speed bump or the pothole. I understand why you don't want the obstruction in the street, but again, it's there to try and get my point across that I want people to slow down on the street.
And do you feel those stop signs helping them at all?
No, it's not. And I know others can attest to it. It's, again, it's really, no one can really control it because people are going to do, it's the person driving, and, unfortunately there's in general, like not just bright waters everywhere, the common courtesy is gone on the road as it is anywhere you go. Sunrise Highway merging onto, so, but are they helping? No, not even. The people are blowing through that.
Isn't it amazing? So what are we supposed to do with people?
It's not you guys. No, it's not. It's really the driver. You can't really stop a driver from driving. It's like
Wednesday night I have my monthly mayor's meeting, and the cameras on stop signs is one of the big issues, and they're looking to, the lobbying organization is looking to start pushing for that, and I could just imagine the screaming we would get if we put some of these on stop signs.
Oh, like ticketed, like cameras that will
tickets.
They pick up your license plates.
Yeah.
I'm sure
Maybe we could pay for the new fire truck.
Yeah,
I'm sure you
keep
would.
the money. We're not going to give it to them. But so it is one of the big topics supposedly Wednesday night. So they want to go with it. So Southampton is big on it. Port Jeff, Patchogue, they want to try to do it. So let's see what happens with that.
One more thing, are we any closer on the speed humps on Windsor?
No. Right now, we do not need the traffic study to put them on Windsor. We just need the proper signage. So at our working meeting this month, we'll discuss that. So again, we don't, as long as we do what's proper for, highways, we can go ahead and do it. Bobby?
You're gonna hate me for this, Mr. Mayor. You don't need speed bumps here. Personal experience, you need concentrated enforcement.
You're not gonna get that, Bobby. You're not gonna get that.
But we don't try it, we never try it.
You're not gonna get it.
Why couldn't you get it?
Because the police department, I'm not saying they laugh at bright waters, but our issues are so low down on the totem pole that
Well, the only reason they might have laughed at bright waters is the cops who were working before that wrote the tickets, they all got thrown out. They said, what's the sense of writing tickets if they're not going to enforce the law with the judge? This guy, I know this guy here will give you a warning and stuff like that. Why can't we go back to the old days like the DA when I worked here? The DA came here and adjudicated the cases. And I wrote summonses here because the old man was in trouble. And he would tell the lieutenant tell the sergeant would jump on my stuff. So you write the tickets here. If you concentrated enforcement here for a period of time, 2 weeks, you'll be clean for 3 or 4 months. People will know about it. People will slow down. Maybe you go back to the DA, you'll get some monetary value out of that. But it's not going to, I don't want speed bumps. I'm sick and tired of these stop signs here. Okay? I obey the law, so it's always one, gotta watch my language. One guy does something wrong, and I have to suffer. Because then we jump on it. Now, if they have a speeding problem...
It's not one guy. It's not one guy.
Well, and it'll probably be a bright waters person that's going through the thing, because that's what it was with me. They're happy with 15 summonses a month. I wrote 224 summonses. It was every bright waters person. I was lucky to still have a house here. It was the people who were bitching about the people speeding, the bitching about this and that, and I wrote the summonses to them. So you get some concentrated enforcement here, you'll stop them for 2 or 3 months, maybe a little bit more, because the word gets out. Don't go through bright waters and speed, don't do this. But I don't want speed bumps, and I'm tired of going one block stop, one block stop, one block stop. I obey the law. It's only the bad guys that don't, or the pain in the ass people knows that people should suffer.
Bobby, in the residential streets, I'm personally for four-way stop signs on every block.
That's what I'm afraid of. So
We're a residential community, not meant to be a cut-through block. So where's everybody going in such a hurry? I know what you mean by enforcement. In 1989, and we got a copy of the traffic study they did in 1989, and it was mostly north of the tracks, and the conclusion was what you just said, more enforcement. Right now, we are not going to get that. We looked into bringing the moving violations back into the village, and John, what was the conclusion with that? This is about 6 months ago, Bobby, we were looking
We
at
did a
this.
study on it, Mayor, I reviewed it, you need permission from the district attorney to take back moving violations. You need a police department, you need an ability for the police department to take people away, and then when they put them in jail, and it raises the level of bureaucracy here, and the costs are extraordinary to institute that. And we also have to get cooperation from the police department. So it's not such an easy lift.
Yeah.
How it worked before?
How long ago was that?
Yeah, years ago, it was a different world.
Yeah, this is a number of years ago when I worked. I'm retired for a while, but it worked before. And why don't we try? We try everything else. We're trying to stop.
So what are you saying, try what? Try bringing back the moving violations? No, but try to bring the moving violations back? It's not trying.
I'm not so worried about that. Bring back selective enforcement, not selective.
I'm not
Concentrated
we're not the
enforcement.
police. We're not the
You got
police.
coke, you got everything else sitting up there that goes around, does the community things like this. The local sector car's too busy handling calls and running to another sector that handle calls in this day and age. The volume has gone up triple since when I worked. I never had a daytime burglary when I worked, which is unheard of, because I rode the streets. And these guys can do it, but the big thing is concentrated enforcement, and you'll stop some of this for 2, 3, 4 months, and you'll make some money out of it.
The moving violations right now do not, again, come back to the village. Stop signs, speeding, do not come to the village, they go to Suffolk County. Yes, we're not worried about the money if the enforcement is going to help everybody slow down. It's getting the police to dedicate people to us when they have issues in Bay Shore, and then Brentwood also, they have other issues where...
That's why they have Coke and the other ones that do that kind of stuff, through the precinct.
Coke? Yeah.
Want me to go up there and ask?
Yes.
I will.
Thank you. Let us know what you find out. No, we appreciate it, Bobby. Yeah, that's what... We have a lot of police and ex-police in this village. And when 4th of July comes, one of the biggest calls I get is from one of my neighbors who's an ex-policeman. He's like, why aren't I doing anything about fireworks? It's like, you're the ex-policeman, why aren't you doing something about it?
Well, you turn around and tell him, why doesn't he do something when he was working? You can't enforce the 4th of July. It's impossible.
That's what I get the
enforce
calls
the 4th
every
of
year,
July.
the same person. No, any help that you can get, Bobby.
I will
we
go
banter. I enjoy the banter, but whatever help you can do, we're more than happy, to do it.
I'll be up there Wednesday. Tomorrow I have to work all day. I'll be up there Wednesday.
But you know what you're talking about. Can I say they can't bullshit, Bobby? They can't, but you know. So when I go, they'll give me fluff and they'll give me whatever. But if you go, this is what you did. Why can't I have a person? I think the police are trying, but I think it's a different police.
No, it's the Marxist community, the Marxist policies in the state where the cops can't do a goddamn thing. Now, it isn't politics, it's what the police can't do because of what it is.
That's scored now?
Yes.
Just a couple things. As far as the big tackle shop, I've been calling the town myself. I think I need a little help from maybe you guys. It's turned into I would say, the change of use at night, at 8, 9 o'clock at night on Saturday, Friday, Sunday. Now, I live on the corner, right? I got traffic coming through, I got people walking by, I got the busy cars coming through. Now I have kids standing outside saying, come in for free wings. It's not a bar, and they're all drinking out there, loud music. My favorite politician ever, Trish Bergen, had a code change in town. I said that you can't have lights blinking in the sky to block the stars. Well, these lights are in my entire house. I sit on my porch, I could see their lights. It's glow lights, it's blow up TVs, it's the lights in the building. So now it's like impeding like my quality of life in town of Iceland. I called, they're not going to do anything about it. I know this for a fact because I used to work for them. They're not coming out on a Sunday night, code enforcement, to see this. They're going to come on Monday, 2 o'clock afternoon, like, yeah, everything's good. So I need some kind of help because I have pictures, I'll send them to you.
What do they do, Mike? What's their schedule? I know they have that outdoor area. Are they using it? Or?
Yeah, live music, football games, soccer, whatever. And this is now winter time, or fall. During the summer, I don't even know what it's going to be like. So I think we just need to get a grasp on it now before it gets a little crazy later on. And there is a lot of traffic in that area.
Do they have music by the truck itself or on the other side?
It's on the other side. It's the actual building. The food truck was open this past Sunday, like late at night.
They don't have like 7 hours.
Yeah, I think it's 7 hours. It's kind of like a pickup game, like kind of at a pod there. Yeah, it's just like come in and do whatever. But even like on Monday night, like it's on, it's loud.
Bob, can we find out what they're allowed to do there? Can we call the town of Islip and see what their permit is?
Sure.
For outdoor music, outdoor drinking?
I'm just thinking, with the
let's try to find out.
How to figure it out, rather than
Let's try to find out what they legally are allowed to do.
Right.
Before, and then we make a plan that way, Mike. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's find out what they're allowed to do, and then we'll go from there.
Just on I guess that first intersection, cars are still flying around. They're barreling through. It's even obviously coming into the village, but also you can see it's the cars that come through. Still nothing's changing, but that peninsula, that triangle that we put the stop sign at,
right.
I think it's just very confusing for cars because those 2 stop signs face northbound. So I think it's kind
the
of
existing conditions you're saying?
Yeah, the one that they just put up, they're facing northbound. So I think it's like 2 people are sitting in the middle now, cars are trying to come toward it. So I think it's a lot of confusion going on at that intersection.
Why is it confusing if they're going south?
Because I think cars are just like coming in the middle now because I think it's like a one-way now.
You know, I've seen that. I've noticed that too. They are.
I know.
The idea was so that you would say that as you're doing around the bend. So you think it'd take the one out on the peninsula?
I think it would help because cars are sitting in the middle. So other cars are coming toward it. So I think it's just confusing. I love that it's there. I just think it's confusing for the cars.
We'll take the one out on the peninsula tomorrow.
And then
we'll take the one out on the peninsula tomorrow to see. But the thought was when you're coming south that you see it.
Yeah.
Stop ones on the right side.
I totally understand. Just watching it, I think we just kind of see it's a little more confusing. To piggyback with Mr. McNulty, I think just being in the fire department for so many years, just for your consideration, we usually do about 1,000 calls. We're already at 1,010 for the year. And that's just with the influx of the CO alarms. I don't think the commission's touched it right a little bit, but we have carbon monoxide alarms, just service calls, water main breaks. There's a lot more that goes into just the firefighting end of it. It's just the service calls part. And we're probably going to be at probably 1,400 at this year. So it's like almost, we're getting to the point where I think we're hurting a little bit too. We have 30 new members again, but the call volume is increasing because patients are getting, it's on subways. And we all know, we all live here. But that's all. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, just as a point of information for yourself, if this new 1910 goes into effect, the chief of the fire department in New York City can't qualify to be a volunteer fire chief. So there's a lot of things coming out with the IAFF. They eventually want to come out here and make this paid fire departments all the way down the island here. So you imagine chief of the department, New York City Fire Department, can't qualify to be a volunteer fire chief here. That's what this governmental stuff is putting on the backs of the volunteer firemen and stuff like that. And believe me, you don't want to go through the training. A lot of these guys can't. There's a lot of training involved. I got 61 years in the Bay Shore Fire Department, seen it change drastically.
Yeah, that's what our meetings, one of the issues is that OSHA is going to keep the standards up and up and up to put you guys out of business. So let's see what happens.
I want to talk about taxes then.
All right, anything else from the residents? Again, make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All in favor?
This is so Texas.